Blog Talk Radio.
Arm switch is on. Okay, Victor. Landing rocket arm switch is on. Here comes the throttle. Circuit breakers in. We have separation. Inboard and outboard, they're on. We're coming forward with the side stick. Oh, looks good. Roger. I've got a blowout. Stand for 3. Get your pitch to 0. Pitch is out. I can't hold altitude. Correction. Altitude is on. Trip selectors emergency. Flight Tom, I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's breaking.
Let's talk to Will in Arizona. Thanks for holding her on the air.
First off, I am a Prison TV Planet member.
Awesome, brother. Go ahead and into your points, and I'll hold you over if need be.
If you really want to have an unabridged idea of what is going on today, look at it's actually a YouTube video, but it's a documentary. Adolf Hitler, the greatest story never told. He actually kicked out a lot of the bankers because they were trying to implode Germany after World War I. And it was the bankers. And when I was watching that, it was 5 hours long, and I started listening and saying to myself, wait a minute, they are just repeating history, but because we are so dumbed down in the sense of our historical knowledge.
Well, I haven't seen the documentary you're talking about, but people can, I guess, check it out for themselves.
The very well-made, excellent, and moving documentary called Adolf Hitler, The Greatest Story Never Told. I want you to do something for me as well, and I would really appreciate it. Before you listen to this interview, I want you to watch the documentary. I know you want to listen to this program right away, but if you haven't already seen it, I want you to stop this program right now and go watch the documentary first. And I'm adamant about watching the documentary because one of the biggest hurdles that the majority of people seem to have, they're basically just kind of set in their ways, and they argue that they already know everything that they need to know concerning this topic. Well, I can promise you, people, you don't know 1/10 of it.
I seriously had a panic attack after I watched that documentary, The Greatest Story Never Told. And for days afterward, I was really shook up. It had such a profound impact on me, and everything started making so much sense, and I felt so... I mean, I've always felt kind of betrayed by the powers that be, but I felt more betrayed than ever. And I started looking back on my entire life and looking back at all the movies that I'd seen.
I just couldn't believe it. I thought if they could pull off this, then anything is possible. Anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that one, you know, I would encourage anybody watching this or listening to this to watch that hasn't seen that documentary to watch it and go back
with an open mind.
Open mind, and listen to that interview that you did with Dennis Wise recently.
But that's most likely what got us censored from iTunes, by the way, too, that show.
Yeah, well...
That shows what we're not allowed to talk about. It's just it's off limits, you know?
And that's what, when I was going through that sort of panic attack realization, that was it. That was the big red flag. I was like, oh my God, like of course we're not being told the truth because we're not allowed to talk about this issue. When you're not allowed to talk about something, then that's like the red flag right there. If it's off limits, then that's the thing you need to talk about the most.
And the rule to remember is that history is written by the winner.
I can promise you, people, you don't know 1/10 of it.
Because you're not told on the news media here 1/10 of it. How many of you out there know that right now today Israel is pushing a law right now to have people who are preaching Christianity arrested and put away in prison for up to 1 to 3 years? That's a law right now being proposed right now in Israel, and you are not hearing one bit of it on the news media here in this country right now. You can look it up for yourself. It's on the internet. You can look it up. Google it. If you are a Christian and you go to Israel and you try to convert somebody over to Christianity, you will be arrested and thrown in prison. What the hell? And this is a state that we send billions of our dollars to. You tell me an American citizen is going to go over there and be arrested? A Christian? Not one peep of it. Not on the news, right? You ain't going to hear about that on Tucker Carlson, will you? No, you won't. You sure won't. Why is that? I don't know. But I'd sure like to call some of the corporate media tonight maybe and ask them, why haven't they reported on this? I mean, surely that would be like a major news story, wouldn't it? I mean, it'd be like huge. the corporate media is going to cover it up. Yeah, they're protesting in Israel. Now, one story today on Fox News about them protesting, but it had nothing to do with that. They had the workers' union, they said, was protesting. Lie. That's not what they're protesting about. Lie. 4% of the people that were protesting were the Christians over there in Israel marching over this new law. But they won't tell you that, will they, Fox News? They completely, it's all a lie. Everything you see out there, it's a lie. So if they're lying about that, and you just heard the intro here tonight, and I don't know if anybody's watched that documentary, because now I'm a racist automatically. Probably get pulled off of Blog Talk Radio soon because of this. If you watch that documentary and got another perspective of history that gave references and gives you actual excerpts of what speeches and whatnot, and that's not one-sided. Now, did atrocities happen in World War II? Yes. Were the prisons there, or the people that were set up by the Germans, were the people there found half starved to death? Yes, because the Allies were bombing the supply lines for 9 months straight. They couldn't get any food or water in there. That's why they were half starved to death when they found them. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. Listen, man, you could pay people and brainwash people to say a narrative all throughout their lives that this happened, and that happened, and it really didn't happen. Did bad things happen? War is hell, yes. Bad things did happen during World War II. I'm sure the Germans did a lot of bad things. And our country fought against them, so I support the United States, okay? But when you look at what happened and policy during that time, I wish I was around because I would have been against it. But, I support our troops. World War II veterans were the greatest men, I think, that were around. The greatest generation. I think they had heart, they had courage, and they believed what they were fighting for, and I back them. I don't think they're criminals for what they did. But that idiot Roosevelt and and Churchill and those are the criminals right there that you had. But anyway, let me open up the phone lines here. I got a couple people with their hands up, so I'm going to go ahead and connect the callers. So go ahead and connect the first caller, 234. Go ahead, you're first.
Joe, what's happening? It's Cave again.
Cave, how you doing?
Man, you hit the subject tonight, buddy, because I'm going to tell you what. If you think that this Israel situation and that law is something, let's ask everybody if they know what Noahide laws are. We are under Noahide laws since Jimmy Carter was president. Every president since then has signed them. You know what that is?
Yeah, I've heard about them.
It's Judaism, straight Judaism.
Yeah.
And it's 7 laws they want you to follow. And when you don't follow them, or you blatantly speak out against the Jewish God, you get beheaded. Period. That's all there is to it. It's unbelievable.
Well, they're not. They claim to call themselves Jews, but they really are not. I think Jesus warned us about them. I'm not. I can't say every single person in Israel is a bad, evil person, and the country itself is bad. But the Zog and the Zionists, yes, they are evil. The Jewish conspiracy is there, and the bankers are controlled by the Jews. Yes.
And 90% of people don't realize that when we say the word Jew, you automatically get labeled anti-Semite, but just because of the Holocaust, okay? People don't know about, like you were talking about, you watch that one Hitler movie, the Greatest Story Never Told. I'll talk about the one we talk about.
Europa. Yeah, Europa.
Yes. Yeah. That is probably the most mind-changing thing I've ever seen, and I graduated with a pretty decent high school average for a dummy that I am now. I never heard the stories and the atrocities that were committed prior to World War II, and now they're coming out, and you've got people, and you'll never see it in the media. They don't want you to know this because they run it. Kanye West proved that. They yanked him down, all that crap. But with all that being said, what are you going to do when everything that now all the laws are getting put in place, DeSantis and all the people in Florida, and he's a snake in the grass if there ain't.
He is. Oh, he's a devil. Yeah, he is a devil.
There's a two-headed director. The church ain't over till all the snakes are in the bag, and he's got to be one of them.
Yeah, DeSantis is no good. No good. And I'll just read this real quick, this right here. Even though, despite PM's assurances Christian Zionists be deviled by anti-missionary bill, which he's trying to stop it, one guy is, and that's what they're protesting over there, a bill making religious proselytization punishable by jail time induced alarm among Christian Zionists in Israel and around the world, despite assurance by government officials that it would not become law. The proposal submitted by United Torah Judaism's Moshe Gafni, which is a New World Order thug, and Yashir claims that missionary groups and mainly Christians have stepped up efforts to convert people in Israel. The language of the bill would make soliciting an adult to change his faith punishable by 1 year in jail, 1 to 2 years in jail. The penalty would increase to 2 years if the individual being solicited was a minor. So don't talk to the children, you know? I mean, this is insane. This should be on the 6 o'clock news, man. What the hell's going on here?
All your Zionist government right now that's in place, all the way from the top to the bottom, everybody that sends and wants to fund Israel are the Zionists and believe that these people that are telling you right now, if you preach the word of Jesus Christ to anybody over there, you're going to jail. They think these guys are our allies and our friends. They have been so brainwashed they've lost their mind that you can't even tell it to them. And what they've done here.
I know.
Now, see, they've got it going through over there now. We've already had this process with the anti-Semitism, and now you got every single politician that wants to pass laws and stiffen it up because the ADL, which is a bunch of bums, and what they want to get it dialed up. But here's the problem. They can't enforce it so much on us because we have guns. That is the biggest gun right. The guns. They want the guns gone because once they get rid of the guns, then they can control the people. They can't control us because of that. That's all that's stopping this.
That's correct.
How bad
hey, Dave, let me connect another caller here, 305, see what's on their mind, too, and bring them on along with you. Go ahead, 305, go ahead.
Hey, brother. It's,
yes,
Mike.
What's on your mind? Oh, Mike. Is this Mike? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Mike. Righteous Army.
How you doing?
RighteousArmy.org and thebigvirushoax.com. I'm good, brother. Good to hear Tave. Good to hear Tave in the conversation. Yeah. I may eventually get back to doing some Zoom meetings. It's just that right now I'm taking another approach. As you know, for months I was preaching that people need to start organizing in their communities and standing up, and I was trying to get everybody around the country to do it, but I wasn't doing it, in my own town. I was trying to do it across the nation, but now I'm actually focused on my own community. I just contacted the Miami-Dade County Mayor's office and Commissioner's office yesterday and requested a citizens presentation where I'm going to bring all these issues up. I'm going to try to send a letter out to everybody. I sent it out today to Dan, and he forwarded it out, and he forwarded back to me a reply from Peggy Hall out in California who loved it. And Dan told me when I called him today that a bunch of people dug in. It was a 5-minute presentation that I wrote, and then I sent out to all the commissioners. So, I'm going to endeavor to get, because it'll be recorded and everything. Mm-hmm. It's kind of my first approach at going public officially through the system here in Miami-Dade County, and then I'm going to have that spread out to my surrounding counties and try to get it, everybody to.
People aren't going to like me for. Well, people aren't going to like me for what I got to say about this banker thing that's going on right now. But I think what Biden did do is I think Biden didn't cave into these bankers to give them another bailout. I mean, I just got to, or the people around him advised him, one or the other. I don't know, but I got to say that the way the banker with the banks pulling their crap right now, I think Biden handled it pretty well so far. I mean, I don't know what everybody's thoughts are on that. I know Sarge is probably if he's listening right now, it's probably going nuts me saying that, but I got to speak the truth,
Well, I always knew you were a closet Democrat, Joe.
Here we go. But I'm against the bankers. I just think the way that he's handling it, because he really has no control or oversight of the Federal Reserve anyway. All he can do is impose regulations.
When people start realizing the federal banking system or the Federal Reserve is not a government entity, we should go shut that down. I mean, let's be realistic about it. That is something that's where the problem is since 1913 that people have been lied to when That was all implemented.
Somebody put in the chat room, the FBI is probably looking for you since you know Barry. Biden gave bail out to, obviously we got a wise guy in the chat room there, quite clear. I'm sure if the FBI wants to find me, I'm sure they know where to locate me and how to get a hold of me. But go ahead there, guys.
Yeah, I'm actually in the middle of cooking, so I'm a little bit, frazzled trying to have the conversation. But I do want to go back to the issue of DeSantis. You guys, put DeSantis down pretty hard there. I just want to say that DeSantis has done a 180-degree turn on the vaccines since. First let me say that everything that's been published at thebigvirushoax.com has been forwarded to DeSantis big time, especially over the last couple of years. I mean, really from the beginning, I was forwarding stuff to him, and he finally caught on to it. And there were 4 times that he came out in the media addressing issues of concern that we were pushing on the website and flooded him with via his Facebook, his Twitter. And I'll tell you, he took a 180-degree turn, on the vax from being a guy who was a pro-vax narrative to appointing a grand jury to investigate the vax. And also, with regards to the Jew thing, what people need to understand is that most people don't know what those who watch Europa the Last Battle know, and those who are truth seekers. That's what they spend all their time doing, sorting through quote-unquote conspiracy videos and alternative media and trying to get both sides of the story so they can, seek out the truth. The truthers know, but the vast majority of people don't. So even something like Ron DeSantis is a guy who grew up in the world, whether Catholic or Protestant, being a Christian-minded guy. The vast majority of Christians think that Jews are God's chosen people. That's their concept in their head that's been drilled for decades. 90% of religious church-going people believe that. They think that. So they think the Jews are God's chosen people, and that's the Holy Land. They don't know the truth about who Israel really is and what the Israelites are.
As far as I've gone in this deep state, in this whole thing, looking into researching, I learned something. The Jews are the chosen people of God, a God. But see, there's a problem here because the translation of the Bible from Hebrew to Latin, Elohim is plural, not one. It's plural. So they are chosen by a God. They chose to pick Lucifer. They chose that guy on that top of the hill. When that guy came down and told Jesus, you can have all this land. You can have every kingdom under this. That was Lucifer talking. Put no other God before me. That's what he wanted he wanted to be picked. There's not one God. It's got to be like a council or something because the Hebrew Bible shows it. And to take the words and they're being mistranslated, when you start seeing things in plural and these group of people cast out these bad ones, they come down here. They were given earth by God.
Well, where do we sit today, though, Dave? Where do we sit today? You got Putin that's just mobilized nuclear weapons. He's going to use them. He's going to use them. I'm telling you, he's going to use them on Ukraine. He's going to do it. And when he does, we're in big trouble.
DeSantis is a snake in the grass that's been put in there by the deep state to try and pull votes away from Trump so that this next election, it doesn't look so bad when they rig it and they get as many votes. They're going to try and say that DeSantis and Trump's too old, DeSantis is the guy, he's deep state. They're all deep state. I've told you guys that. There's not two parties, Republican and Democrat anymore. It's patriots and traitors.
Well, I was in a meeting last week with the Constitution Party, and the Constitution Party is trying to get ballot access. I was in a meeting last week with them, and but I'm going to stay registered as a Republican, and I know everyone disagrees with me, but I'm going to run again here in North Carolina for North Carolina House of Representatives, but only to restore our original republic, and that was my platform, and that's what I will run on. I think it's the only way, it's the only peaceful way that it can be done, a logical way. Protesting or having travel passes and whatnot, and protesting that way, saying I don't have a driver's license, it's just not going to work. It's not going to work doing that, waking people up. It's just not.
It's not about, and all these people coming in here illegally, it's not about getting a vote. What they're trying to do is bleed out the white population. What you're watching is exactly what happened pre-World War I, where Hitler had been put into power. They talk about 6 million number. There's articles in newspapers from New York, the Post. There's another one, that talk about the 6 million number 33 years before Hitler was ever in power. Now that's some bullshit. If I ever heard, I couldn't believe it. It's true. It's true. And the worst part
there's more to. I think you're absolutely correct. There's a lot of stuff that's happened there, but you also have to look at the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, also that's involved with this New World Order. Roman Empire. So they're a big part of it also.
People don't understand how severe the separation that the people. If you read the Bible and get into it, and Mike knows I've deep dived this. They made a choice when Jesus walked away and said, "You can come with me." Do what my father said. If you say your father Abraham was the same deal, come with me. If not, you're not him. You're not those people, and you're evil. They chose to go another route. They did the Sodom and Gomorrah thing. You see what happened. They made a choice. Those people are still around. They're Canaanites. They're from Turkey, Mongolia. They're not
I tell you, I got my fans there in the chat room. They know everything about me. I lost 89 to 19 last time, I guess, in the last primary. No, that wasn't. No, you're actually a little bit off there, actually. It was actually 69 to 22%, I believe it was. 21 I lost. So, yeah, but so what? I came in second place, and I'm going to run again. And that's without spending $1. Without spending $1, I was able to obtain that many votes. Now I'm going to go. I'm out there campaigning, and now I'm going to be spending the money and raising money with my committee, and I'm going to be putting ads up and doing commercials, and I'm going to win this time. So, what are you going to say when I win? The people in the chat room. What are you going to say when I win this time? What are you going to do then? What's going to be the excuse then? So why do you want to mock somebody? I don't understand. Why?
What? Why
he says, Well, I got a wise guy in the chat room. He talking junk.
They've ruined it. And if anybody, I don't care who it was, anybody be better than Mr. Potato Head, like Sarge says, I'll tell you right now, if you think now that this guy's bad, these kids that they've been indoctrinating, and they've been putting things in their minds, the guy that sniffs hair and walks around and shakes hands with nobody.
Well, I don't think DeSantis will get in there anyway. I don't think he'll get in there anyway. I think Trump was going to be the front runner, and I think Trump will win. I think he will win the election. I mean, I don't know if you like Trump or not, but I mean, he's the best choice that we have right now that's out there. I mean, who else is stepping up to the forefront? Who else do you have?
Yeah. They already know who's going to win. We don't have any say. If our vote counted, it wouldn't matter.
That's right.
Do they have the elections rigged? Man, I'd like to say for sure no, but I mean, I don't know. I know in my area we've got people watching.
They're stringing us along, Joe, for the ride because they can't get the guns yet. That's what this whole process has been taken over. They can't take away the guns. So now, hey. If you can't take the guns away, we've got a problem. We've got the biggest army in the world right here stateside. Everybody's got guns. Do you
really think that's what it is? Do you really think they're scared of us having the Second Amendment? Do you really think that's what it is, guys? That because we have the Second Amendment still, that's the reason why they just don't lock us down? I mean, they did a pretty good job during COVID locking us down.
Well, they did get scared. They test that, but now see what they did is they didn't think it through enough. But what they did was they informed everybody of what they're capable of doing. Now the people are starting to wake up a little bit. If it wasn't for the internet, we'd really be screwed. Internet's bad and good, but now at least we can communicate.
Yeah. I wonder why they're
it.
playing that Waco thing again. They're playing that Waco. I monitor the TV a lot because the TV is what they send their messages through, and they're playing that Waco series again. And now they got a new series out that's part 2 of the Waco, where the ATF agent, we started a revolution, and so they got a new documentary out now. So I wonder why they're playing that, an awful lot. And then they had that Last of Us series on HBO about that virus that infected people and made them into attacking zombies. And it destroyed the planet. So they do a lot of this stuff.
The lockdown screwed them so bad because people that could sit around and do nothing did nothing, but people that could do some research and get into things and start looking at things like Mike did with the big virus hoax and put that out there, boom, blows up. Now you got people looking even deeper. Then it gets put to the forefront. Now you have COVID. It's completely a farce. Everybody knows it. Fauci's a farce.
Let me take this next caller, guys. They got another caller here, a private caller. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry. I had myself muted. Look,
go ahead. You got the floor, Sarge. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't you think this latest shooting in Nashville and the reactions of the press to it have been rather instructive as to what these people may portend for us?
I think Jim Fetzer really started a stir with saying that he got evidence that Andy Hook and all that stuff was fake.
Ready.
Well, I tell you, it's not like I didn't expect some mentally ill person to do something like this, especially since I think I think there's a safe assumption you can make that just about every transgender person automatically exhibits some form of mental illness by virtue of the fact that they are literally at war with healthy organs of their body that are biologically suitable for it. And I think that is a sign of mental illness right there. Now, you can argue about the degree, but anytime a person who has double X chromosomes or XY chromosomes in every cell in their body, they've got normal, functioning sexual organs, both primary and secondary, and yet still they are diametrically opposed, hostile to these perfectly normal functioning organs. I think that is automatically a sign of mental illness. Now, you can argue to the degree, but I don't think you can argue that it is. It's like saying, I don't like my arm. Maybe I ought to have my arm amputated.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not at all surprised that a transgender would do this, and I have noticed that given the fact that transgenders are probably less than 1% of the population, they've been
involved. You notice none of these shooters ever have girlfriends? None of these shooters ever have girlfriends or wives? You ever notice that?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I know they're less than 1% of the population, and yet still they're involved in a wildly disproportionate number of mass shootings relative to the size of the population.
Yeah, if that stuff is pushed on you your entire life, this one here down in Tennessee, they're not new transgender. This one's been in the system and had it pushed off and done it. You're pissed off because they're not getting the attention that they got from the first time. So what happens when you get pissed off when you do something? They're gonna
what do you think about this with the what do you think about this one? This story just happened here. I think if I could pull it up here. I don't know if I can get it up or not, but it's with the green police there, because the electric cars are on the horizon, guys. The electric cars, they're already set up. They got the power stations all set up and everything, and they got the green police already out there. And they set this up during the Obama administration. Let me play this real quick. It's about 3 minutes long.
Already enforcing the system themselves. A shocking video out of Lefty Outpost Oxford shows eco-loons blocking residential roads to prevent cars from passing. To be clear, this isn't an Extinction Rebellion protest. This is just some quiet back street in suburbia.
I think you went dead, Joe.
Literal eco-Stasi roadblocks staffed by enviro goons who think that wearing a high-vis jacket gives them any kind of authority.
Hello. Have you got any right to stop here? Yeah, this is a motor vehicle. Yeah, do you go to work? Yes, I'm on my way to work. Yeah, what's the time you're going? I'll talk to my friends about 15 minutes. Yeah, you stay just all day, just wasting people's time. No, so, have you got anything to show me that you can stop me? Yeah, excuse me, I want to see you. No,
look, they have a homemade sign, therefore they get to play traffic cop. Doesn't work like that.
I understand. Yeah, don't worry. I want to see if you got something to show me that you can stop me. No, you. Can you stop me to go through there? No, but if you go through, you will get a fine. Okay, I want to get through. It's a great shame you can't sort of think a bit more about it. No, okay.
It's a great shame you haven't been indoctrinated with alarmist propaganda like our cult.
Hey, can you open, please? Thank you. If I get the fine.
I will film you going through. I will film you going through and report you to the authorities.
Okay, don't worry. Okay, can you move now? I'm late. I need to go to work. Excuse me. Move. I'm going to get a fine. You got my everything. Now you move now, okay?
Passerby then sticks up for her.
Excuse me. You're taking a... Excuse me. I said you stop now. Just drop. Listen. Listen. You move now. You took everything about me. Now you need to call the police. Call the police for whatever you want.
Steele still thinks that having green hair and an obnoxious holier-than-thou attitude gives them the right to exercise power over everyone else. And for 15-minute cities, which simultaneously don't exist and are a baseless conspiracy theory, according to the media, while local technocrats openly prepare to enforce them via networks of license plate scanning surveillance cameras that will issue fines every single day for people simply trying to get to work in the morning. It's not a climate lockdown, though. Oh, you can't say that. Here's a few permission slips we'll graciously grant you so you can sometimes travel through the city, maybe, if you behave yourselves. This is just a taste of what kind of busybody control freaks will be empowered if we allow the insanity of net zero to accelerate.
And that's what it is. I got a ticket in the mail, actually. I got a ticket in the mail for when I went up to Connecticut up in June. I guess they took a picture of my license plate, and they charged me for going through a toll. I went through the Easy Pass or whatever, one of the tolls. They took a picture of my car, my license plate, and they sent me a ticket in the mail. I didn't pay it. You know, but they're sending me letters in the mail threatening me that they're going to suspend my license. They're going to do this. There could be other things, collection fees involved, and instead of a $12 ticket, it's going to be a $112 ticket. I'm not paying it. I'm not paying it. I had a friend, the same thing. He's paying his ticket. I said, yeah, you go ahead, lick the boots. You know,
big problem here in Ohio. Big problem. And what happened? The people found out was the cameras were set up illegally. Number one, but they're from an out-of-state company or something. It all went to shit on them for that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Weird.
I did look up what Mike was talking about with the travel passes, though, and everything, and I did find. And Sarge was talking about it. I remember we were talking about this one time. Sarge had brought it up, and I'm going to try to pull that up now. About the travel, there is one way that Mike was talking about that does work. About the traveling thing. I had the link up. I'm going to try to see if I can find it, but I'll read it to you guys about the dual citizenship. This is the only thing I can find through hour. I mean, I spent all night that night looking, and then again another night I was looking, and last night I finally found it. And it discusses the driver's license issue and the traveling issue, and it goes into it discusses all the cases, constitutional cases that this was argued and talked about, and the dual citizenship thing, the national citizen, and all this, and it's very interesting. And I read it, and the Mike, the site that you sent me, the one that we went on together with that night, it was about a month ago. We went on together with, and we, you fill out, you ask for a full copy of your birth certificate and whatnot. That one there is the second best site, but I don't see any remedy there. You have to post money for a bond and all that. I don't like that. As soon as somebody asks for money, I don't like it. You know, I don't like it at all. But I'm gonna see if I can find that though. But the AI robots are going to be out there.
Joe, I think I heard a woman trying to talk one time, and she was saying something about she was in a court case, and what you're talking about now, it almost sounded like it was something different other than the sovereign citizen, and she was on a whole nother level, going a whole nother way of saying a lot of different things I was used to hear. You know, what's his name? That was the attorney that was talking with us on the militia thing. The guy from Texas. Shit.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway.
I know, and I had the remonstrance people up here last week, and you guys were nowhere to be found. Nobody was here to be found. I finally got the remonstrance people up here about that, and somebody finally explained how it's no good. It can't work. It's not going to work. It can't be used. It's been outlawed. It has nothing to do with us anymore.
That Eric guy that was talking with Mike all the time, he's supposed to be
Eric.
state.
Yeah, Eric. Eric, yeah.
Now, what is he
well, I
doing?
try to get him on here, Eric, and I can't get him on here to see what's going on with the progress of what's he going on with Tennessee and everything. I go to their Telegram group. I can't post anything. They won't let me. So they don't even know I'm there, so I don't know what's going on there. They said sign up for the Telegram group, and I did, and nothing.
Okay, was that when they said there was a Tennessee shooting? The first thing I thought of was Eric was there, and they were supposed to. He would be having all those counties changed over. What the hell? We're going to hear anything about it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard from him. It's the first time I heard from Mike in a while.
I can't find that damn link. I don't know what I did with it. Man, oh man, I had it here last night too, and I wanted to talk about it tonight. I can't find it. It goes into all that the traveling stuff. Now I can't find it. Unbelievable. Just my luck. Unbelievable. Well, Sarge, what do you think about these transvestites? Do you think all these shooters are transvestites? I call them transvestites. They get mad when I do that, but I don't call them LGBTQ.
Well, again, I just like to remind you that in recent memory there have been 5 transgender or binary shooters, which is again wildly disproportionate to their share of the population. I mean, wildly so. Let's look at who they are. You got that guy in Aurora who was declared himself to be binary. You got, of course, this recent shooting. You got another one that said they were, what the hell? They got one in November 2018. A person named Snokia Mosley, and it was a man who identified as a woman, wounded 3 people, killed 3 people after opening fire where he had been employed in Aberdeen, Maryland. In May of 2019, a Colorado woman who identified as a man shot up a school, killing 1 person and wounding 8. In November of 2022, that Colorado man shot up the homosexual nightclub, killing 5 and wounding 18, transsexual. And he got Audrey Elizabeth Hale, who just did what she did. Now, again, that's 5 mass shootings done by transgender people who make up maybe 1/2 of 1% of the population. Yeah. Now, if we're going to talk about keeping guns away from the mentally ill, which I kind of go along with there, well, I think transgenderism is a manifestation of mental illness. And can't we even consider it as a possibility to deny somebody a firearm?
How about we say that these people, let's say they aren't doing suicide by cop because they're alive. Let's say they do this transgender, they want to claim to be a woman and they're a man, so that when they're caught, they don't go to male prison.
Well, that could, I suppose there's some that are doing that, but I think they're just mentally ill. I think that's the main reason for it. I mean, I suppose there's some calculation involved.
Okay, I found it.
Because they're taking advantage of all this insanity in which you can't even define what the most fundamental aspect of being human is, male or female. But I think most of them are really mentally ill.
Well, this is what it says right here, real quick. Switch topics here. The only passport that is valid comes from the U.S. State Department. No Morris Treaty documents, common law ID documents, or World Service Authority passport will be accepted by U.S. Customs Homeland Security officials if you are entering the U.S. What other countries accept might be different, but what we care about most is what the U.S. Homeland Security Customs accepts as legit and allows you into the country through a port of entry. If you can't get back into the USA from abroad, then whatever documents you have are mostly worthless. I say mostly because you should be able to use those other forms of ID for some other helpful purposes, such as notarizing a document or proof of identity domestically for certain situations. Second form of ID. Number 2, the state national but not a U.S. citizen passport has the exact same look, feel, and color as a U.S. citizen passport. If you look on the first page of the inside cover, it does does say that all whom you pass by to allow the following non-national citizen respect, protection, aid, etc. National citizen means national OR citizen, as the booklet itself nor the cover does not tell anyone looking at it which of the two you are that you do not know. So as you see, the passport is already designed to be identical for both national and citizens. There are some rumors and outright wrong things being said on the websites, podcasts, workshops, conferences. Red Book Passport, when in fact we have done our research and found all of these ideas to be wrong and non-existent. The passport book and card are all looks the same in your hands. The only difference is kept internal, inside the Homeland Security and U.S. Customs Immigration computers. Number 3, therefore, there is no benefit to trying to apply for a passport as a national if the use is to brag and impress to your friends, which I would love to do myself. Only problem is the passport will be blue. Have the same number of stars behind your photo, and nothing at all will be different on the outside. All right? Number 4, Mike, if you already have a U.S. passport book from the U.S. State Department, you are finally you're fine. Keep it. No need to send it in or resubmit, as what you have will not reduce the rights you have. Do your SPS process, and from the moment your UCC-1 financing statement is accepted and stamped by the Secretary of State, that Secretary of State filing overrides any data, any government database whatsoever. Therefore, even if years ago you submitted the U.S. passport application as a U.S. citizen with a Social Security number, you are fine. Keep it as is. Nothing else is needed to maintain your status as a private state national who has allegiance to the Republic government of the United several states and the state republic that you call home and you were born in. You are a state national by virtue of the UCC-1 declaration, a sworn statement on public record rescinding your past mistakes, overrides anything done or filed in the past. Do you get that? What a question mark. Number 5, many other websites that promise to help with the national passport application say that you can only submit with your Social Security number or it will be rejected, and the use of SSN numbers on your applications say that you can only submit them is okay in order to get the application for passport accepted. This is not true. The government registers your application as a citizen when you write down your Social Security number on the form. So, Mike, there's no passport system out there. The only way you could declare yourself as being a citizen to your state and being sovereign citizen and self-governing is by the UCC-1 declaration, they're saying.
Okay,
that's
you're wrong.
What they're saying here.
Yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but what you just read was false information. And again, I mean, let's face it. There's all kinds of information that's being put out that is deliberately, strategically designed to confuse people and throw people off. Because the bottom line is, when you go get your passport, you do. I mean, think about the contradiction on what you read. On the one hand, you're saying that the passport difference, they look the same, but the difference is internal. That's right, it's internal. But then you read that it said, but, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to file for a state national when you get your passport. That's a contradiction in terms. The reason it shows national in the background is because you're applying for it as a national.
Well, they give you a phone number here, Mike, to talk to these people. They give you a phone number, 505-340-3632. And this site has been up since, they've been doing this since 2010. That's what their site is copyrighted, and they still update it daily.
What's the name of their operation?
The name of this site is Understand Contract Law and You Win. This is a contract to become collateral for the national debt, and then they got some other headlines here that they scroll. It's a live website that keeps spinning around. Understand Contract Law, resolve commercial matters with harmony. Why AV4 doesn't work, and discuss why sovereign citizens this. But I can give you the phone number.
I was looking at plate pot because I knew that I wanted to give some to Carrie.
Well, look, this has Mike. They've been doing webinars since 2014, and everything's free. They don't charge you nothing. They sell you how to clean up your credit. They tell you how to get out of your mortgage. They tell you about the mortgage scam. They tell you about. They give you courses for free on here, and they talk about right here. This is the main headline now. The state national non-citizen passport. What you need to know, and that's what I read to you about mostly about that. And that's what the Republic had come out with years ago too. The state national passport that they were coming out with, but nothing ever came of it. I remember discussing that with you. So there's no magical passport, but they're saying through your UCC financing statement, declaring your name in all large caps. They're saying that that's the only way that you can clear your name.
Well, see, that's what else is fascinating to me about what you just said is I have a sneaking suspicion that, first of all, I know for a fact that the FBI is, and when I say the FBI, I mean, yeah, the FBI, but the enemy, the deep state, who owns and controls the FBI, the corrupt FBI, they're absolutely using the national movement to trick people and trip them up. And get
but it says here, Mike, that they work with their clients to teach them how to do this the right way. They go to court with them and everything. So that's what they're saying.
Right.
They work with you.
Great. There may well be a group of FBI's working with you to get you to do something so they can throw you in the slammer. Because the fact that they say you don't have to file your passport as a national, but yet they're pushing the UCC. Well, Eric told me that when he spoke with the FBI, because he's got FBI friends, he said that they just told him, just don't get involved with the UCC stuff, Eric, because that's where you're going to get in trouble. So,
well, maybe that's false information.
Well, you know what? All the people that have gotten in trouble that are in jail is because they went through a UCC process and they did it in an inappropriate way. Right. That's why David Straight is the ultimate guy who has a step-by-step systematic approach. You go to court, you file to go before a federal judge, you have all your paperwork in order. There's a process. You haven't even scratched the surface, Joe.
Yeah, but a federal judge can't override what the Secretary of the Country or Secretary of State does. The Secretary of State or the United States Attorney General is the one you have to go through, right? Right? I mean, a federal judge can't change your status, right?
No, but you have to go through the whole process before you even think about UCC filing.
So you're telling me the secured party creditor UCC1 redemption process is not the way to go?
That's right. In fact, I saw a video the other day. My son and I were watching it, and it was so obvious they were like an FBI sting operation because the guy's walking people. Look, man, you could just pay off your loans right now. Just open up a new account with your bank and put your Social Security number as the account number and use that bank's routing number as the routing number, and then you send them a check, and they'll pay off your car. Now, 2 weeks later, they're going to come out and that title back. It's bullshit. They're trying to set people up, man.
What about the accepted for value, the A4V process? That was a House resolution right there. That's in black and white. That's true, though. Everything is null and void. The debts are paid for already, right?
Well, see, again, that's misleading because the whole system, the whole monetary system itself is corrupt. It's dirty money. The whole process, because they're doing everything based off of a debt, right? They do create a balance sheet and they do pontificate funds in an account where they're creating money through bonds based on your birth certificate. That's all true.
You know what red flags me, Mike? You know what red flagged me about Eric and all that was when he said you could buy silver with Federal Reserve notes. Why would you use Federal Reserve notes to buy silver to put it on a card so you don't use Federal Reserve notes at a gas station? Why not just use the Federal Reserve notes? You know what I mean?
No.
It makes no sense.
No, but the fact that you couldn't even understand what he was saying is concerning to me. I mean, let me explain it to you if you missed it. The idea is that when your money's sitting somewhere, it should be sitting as silver. It shouldn't be sitting in a freaking de facto bank as fiat
But
currency.
nobody accepts silver, Mike. But nobody accepts silver. But then you're telling me to put my silver on a Visa or MasterCard card.
Right, because the silver has a value. So the debit card works off the value. Just like your credit card's working off the value, or your debit card's working off the value of what's in your bank. It's the same thing. It's just now your money is secured with silver. It's sitting in a silver deposit, not in a bank.
I get that, Mike. So you're saying from a moral aptitude or standard that your money's being held there in silver. That's what you're saying, instead of holding it in Federal Reserve notes.
No, it has nothing to do with moral. It has to do with the fact that you can. In fact, I can't remember the name of the company, but they're in Holland, the one that he uses. And I went online and looked at their website. I mean, anything can be questionable. I mean, hell, as far as I'm concerned, the stock market itself is a Ponzi scheme. It's a big scam. The whole monetary system is a scam. But there are people within the scam that are trying to make alternatives and trying to do things right and trying to figure it out, and nobody knows everything other than me.
But why, Mike? Why? Because the bartering system itself is a scam from day one, because whoever controls the bartering system or who invents the bartering system really is in control anyway. Why do we have to have a bartering system that chooses what we barter with? Why can't I trade with you with what I want to trade with you? You know?
That's what a bartering system is. What are you talking about? I mean, barter system is, I'm growing potatoes and you're growing corn. Hey, brother, I'll come by and give you a bushel of potatoes for a bushel of corn this week. I mean, and frankly, here's where the whole problem is, all right? Here's the part of this interview tonight that everybody needs to clip and paste and share everywhere, because here's the bottom line. God Almighty provides everything through Mother Earth. There's no reason for one person on this planet to go hungry. Every single person on this planet should be raised and going through school learning about agriculture and how to farm and how to raise chickens and how to raise goats. And everybody in the world should be doing that, having their own little agricultural movement. But the systems have hijacked it and said, no, we're going to control the food. We're going to have a monopoly on lime groves. You can't. And then we're going to come up with, some bullshit about a virus is attacking lime trees. Absolutely. You can't have a lime tree so that we can have it. Go ahead. Everything you own was either farmed or mined. That's right. Everything you own was farmed or mined. So they're just hijacking the earth. They're hijacking what God gave us. That's what they've done, and they've turned it into a corporation. They've made it so that the greedy corporate mongrels own everything, and they're going to tell you, you can't plant a tree, you can't raise chickens, you can't have a goat. Why? Because they want all the money coming to them. If every human being on this earth was growing their own greens and growing their own apple trees and their own papaya trees and their own fish farms and their own chicken farms, those corporations would be gone. They wouldn't exist. So everybody needs to start. Everybody needs to start. Go ahead.
If this money's all in let's say in Fort Knox. Let's just say they haven't done an audit there or whatever. Let's say I've got $100 worth of gold. And I want to go down to the local bank or wherever, and I want to put that in the bank. And let's say I let it sit there, and I come back in 6 months, and I want my gold back. I don't believe you're going to get it back. Just like when you get money,
even the gold and precious metals thing is a scam.
Huh?
Even the gold and precious metals thing is a scam. If you really think about it, who the hell says what the value of an ounce of gold is worth? Who makes that determination?
I agree.
That's what's crazy.
So that's just another con job, because ultimately true wealth is in human labor on God's green earth. That's wealth, because we have an abundance of everything. We have abundance of fresh air that they're poisoning, water that they're poisoning, food that they're poisoning, and then they want to control it all on top of that. These bastards that are behind it need to be taken out. That's a fact. Now, who's going to put together the righteous army that has a smart plan to do it? It's probably going to take divine intervention, and maybe that is, what part and parcel to, the clouds departing and Yeshua returning, and who knows what, Vermonters, UFOs. I don't think it's going to be a white horse in the sky with wings, but then again, who knows, right? The point is that divine intervention comes in various forms. It ultimately comes through God's people being those who are genuine and sincere in their walk with God and righteousness, who favor and prefer morality. They turn from their weaknesses and their sins. They ask forgiveness. They seek strength. They seek overcoming. It's the overcomers and the lovers and seekers of truth. Everybody else, they're just happy getting drunk, inking up their bodies with graffiti, getting their bling, listening to stupid music that's not even music. Everybody's just going about with the social trends that are designed to defile people, to defile what God made. But they get caught up in the hype of it. They get caught up in the social push of it all, and they become victims. I talked about that with early on with Tave, because Tave's all tatted up, and he admits it. He says, it's true, man. I just kind of went with the flow, man. It's like a social trend, and you do it. And there's a whole bunch of people out there that regret it. They're trying to get laser surgery. They're trying to get the stuff removed off of their body. They're finding out that the ink seeps into the subcutaneous tissue and gets into the body. It's harmful.
But the Federal Reserve, though, Mike, the bartering system of the Federal Reserve we agree with. Why should we have to why do they control all the money anyway? Well, who controls, like you said, who controls how much gold is worth? Why can't, there's enough out there for all of us to have. Why do we have to have a system set up?
Let me answer your question. Who controls it? The synagogue of Satan. That's who controls it. And the synagogue of Satan is a whole deep rabbit hole because of the Jew psyop and the anti-Semitism and the Vatican and everything else. The Czarian mafia.
Do you really believe, though? Do you really believe that the Vatican Church? I believe that is the head of the snake. I believe the Vatican Church is the head of the snake, though, when you really think about it, because it's the only city that's built on 7 hills, and I believe that they're the ones that are really going to control everything in the end, and this new world order is going to be set up. They got to be with the Jesuits. Don't you agree with that?
Well, it's been my understanding for many years, for good reason, based on history and Bible interpretations, that the Roman Catholic Vatican Papal Institution is the beast in Daniel and Revelation. Right. However, we still have the question of that's just an institution. So who's behind it? The synagogue of Satan. They're behind that too. It's the ones. And this is where the deeper you go down the rabbit hole, at what point do you stop and say it's a group of filthy, godless human beings who are no different than the other human being, except that they got no conscience and they got no morals, and they need to be taken out and dealt with, versus, now we're getting really down the rabbit hole, to this whole thing of fallen angels and spiritual beings and spiritual entities. To me, those are psyops to distract people and to keep them away.
Well, angels don't have wings, Mike. Angels don't have wings, This notion that they have wings, I think that's hilarious.
It's a psyop. They put all that stuff out as barriers to keep people from getting to them.
Yeah. But the Federal Reserve.
Go ahead, James. We keep calling them Jews or everybody like that. Like Mike said, it's a psyop. These people that we're talking about made a choice to walk away and denounce exactly what Jesus was saying, either follow me and do what we're going to do, and it's basically what we think about today, go the right way, down the right side of the road, mind your business, do the right thing, don't hurt anybody. But these assholes decided, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do what we want. They separated themselves back then. They became the Canaanites. They became the ones that actually had the infiltration and the mindset to go ahead. Now we don't have a homeland. Nobody wants us in their country because what we believe in is some fucking kids, pedophilia, everything else under the sun is evil. And then they find out they get kicked out of one country. They get kicked, and that's a fact, out of another country. I know 137 of them over 1,000 times. So what do?
Yeah, but we got to be careful, though, like when I opened up, though, tonight. You can't just blame everything focal point on just the Jews. You know what I mean? And our Bible history is we have to be careful because we get into a very heated debate and.
Listen, it's not the Jewish people. It's the people that were there. There was a group of them. They were all mixed of them. There was all There was Mongolians, Turks, there's a whole...
The Sanhedrin, man. The Sanhedrin.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. These people chose to go be the evil way. That's all they did. It's like black and white. You can go... There was no gray. Jesus said, you follow me, you follow my Father. If not, you're of Satan. Your father's a liar. That's all.
Well, we can agree on that, but I think a lot of pastors and theology experts out there may disagree with you on the original sin, on the Garden of Eden and whatnot. But then again, hey, I don't have all the facts. So it's a little bit out of my knowledge realm there.
Who's Cain's father?
Who's Cain's father?
Who's Cain's father?
That would be Adam, right? Adam's Cain's father, right?
No. Cain killed Abel. Cain killed Abel because he wasn't of Adam. Eve slept with Lucifer. Lucifer went to the Garden of Eden. The devil went there and slept with her, impregnated her. There's your line of garbage right there.
Now, wait a second. Now, hang on. Wait a second here. So you're saying Satan slept with Eve, and then she gave birth. Now, where was Adam during all this time period when she gave birth? I mean, obviously he must have thought that was his son. I mean, how did that happen? What's the documentation of this? What's the transcript or manuscript evidence that anyone has to back that up?
There's actually more to it than that. Satan is representative of a race that God said, the trees of these trees you shall not engage in sex with. You shall not be fruitful. You shall not be fruitful with them. You will not engage in sexual activity outside of these of your own. So
that's right.
My son's been studying this in a book called the Urantia book that does fill in a lot of gaps. As we know, the Bible, God bless all the Christians that think the Bible is the perfect.
I had a Uranta guy on here. I had a Uranta guy on here a couple of years ago, and he was pretty knowledgeable and smart and well spoken. But I think I had Dr. Peter Ventura on here, and he kind of made him look a little silly with his Uranta stuff because Peter kind of debated him or had a conversation with him about the flat Earth, I think it was, and a bunch of other stuff. I think his name was Kermit. And he kind of got the best of him there, and he couldn't get, and the Uranta guy couldn't really present the facts properly. But it's interesting. It was an interesting conversation.
Well, what you got to keep in mind is that when we mention Urantia, the natural tendency is for people to think that the person who says that is saying that's where all the answers are. No, we know that truth is mixed with error in this world. The Bible's mixed with truth and error. The Urantia book's mixed with truth and error. This world is mixed with truth and error. And that's why only those who love and seek the truth will find it. The truth is like little nuggets of gold and hidden pearls. It's for those to seek out. That's what the truth is. So the point is you will get truth. You will get truth from the Bible, and you will have a whole bunch of people misinterpret the Bible. You will get truth out of the Urantia book. And there's probably a whole bunch of stuff in the Urantia book that's not even true. You have to start piecing it all together and see what makes sense. But what does make sense is that, first let's talk about what doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, the traditional Christian mindset that all human beings on this earth came from Adam and Eve. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. First of all, the mere fact of the beautiful different races, the uniqueness of the Negro race, the uniqueness of the Asian race, the uniqueness of the Celtic.
Mike, I had a guy on my podcast that called him Black Jesus Minister. He called himself Black Jesus Minister, and he swears Jesus was black. I debated. We had that guy on here. We debated back and forth, and he just went back and forth, and he swore up and down that he was the king of debaters. And I even co-hosted a couple of shows with him, but he just made no sense whatsoever. As far as Jesus being black.
Well, there's a whole group of black society out there that they believe they're the Israelites too. But there's all the one person who has studied this probably more than anybody, and I've known a lot of people in my 57 years, and with this being the forefront on my mind pretty much since I was 17, is truth, spiritual truth, philosophical truth, and I've met quite a few, and I got to tell you that Dan Johns, who has been on many of our Zoom meetings, he made his commitment unto the Creator God when he was 10 years of age. And through his entire life, he's looked at the archaeological issues, the historical issues, the racial issues, the biblical issues, the different
But how does that play out today, Mike? Not to interrupt you, but how does that play out today? Look at Israel has come out with a law that if you go over to Israel and you preach Christianity, they're coming out with a law. They're trying to stop it. A couple people are. They're coming out with a law. They're going to put you in prison. They're going to put you in prison. Right. Why isn't that on the 6 o'clock news? Why is that not being talked about on the corporate news media across America?
But again, that's the talking. They've been talking that shit for decades, man. They've been talking about how if you go to China and talk about Christians, you're going to be put in jail. If you go to South America and talk about Christians, you're going to be. I mean, I've been hearing that for most of my life. A lot of that is just propaganda, again, divisive BS and fear tactics. Remember, the enemy's greatest tool is fear. The greatest victory any human being can have in this world is overcoming fear. When you are fearless, truly fearless, which means you welcome death. I'm going to pursue truth unto my own death if need be. That's fearless. I'm in that category, I'm proud to say. Not arrogantly or conceitedly, but by the grace of God, that's in the category I'm in. My son is in that category. I love being in that category.
Well,
and
Mike,
that's
you're in
I'm a
touch.
lover of truth, seeker of truth, and I despise the corruption and the evil, and I will always point to it and call it out. And I am fearless. I have no fear whatsoever. And God.
Well, you're in touch, Mike. You're in touch, Mike, with all these guys all the time. You know, Eric, we were just talking about. What is going on in Tennessee then? Last time we spoke a few months ago, he had 28 counties that were he was talking to that were all in line with each other. Now, 28 counties talking about turning over to common law, and yet I don't hear a peep of this. And I'm not too far from Tennessee, and I've got my ears to the ground, and I don't hear nothing. What's going on? You know, it makes me wonder. That concerns me a little bit. You know?
Well, he put out his website. I don't know how much time you spend on Eric's website, but yeah, like my son's saying now, that's not stuff that's broadcast, you know, in the mainstream ever. And I mean, the only people that are going to know about it are the people that are doing it, and the people like my son and I, and the handful that we know that are pursuing that. I mean, let's face it, Joe. Most of the time I've known you here, Joseph, you know. I mean, you've come around a bit, but you've always been, you know, kind of obstinately opposed to most of those things, you know. I believe you're coming around to it, frankly, but you were pretty oppositional to it all. And if a person's oppositional to it, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to know anything about it. They just want to
it's not
debate
that I was oppositional, Mike. It's that I've heard it for so many years now, the same thing over and over and over, and nothing's changing. Nobody's doing anything, and I'm the only guy out there getting his head kicked in and kidnapped by the police. You know, I mean, well, except for a few others out there across the country. You know, but I'm like, well, wait a minute here. What am I? I'm taking away from my family. I'm taking away from living my life, being happy. You know, okay, yeah, I know I'm doing the right thing, and I got a clean conscience. You know, and I'm pretty sure I'm doing God's will, but I hear the same thing. So when I want to question something, I think, you know, hey, you know, 1991, I've been in the Patriot movement since then, you know, at Ruby Ridge, Waco, all that. Remember those days, you know, and here we are, 2023, and, you know, I question this, and I can't get no answers from anybody. You know, it's the same old thing.
Well, we have a presidential race going on. Why can't we, right now, as we speak, why can't someone that we know in our circle amongst the people listening to this call, can't that be brought to the forefront and beat, like if we were talking to Jean-Pierre or whatever her name is, and when it was Peter Ducey, I'd sit there every day and I'd ask her the same damn question. What about common law? What are we going to do? Is this going to happen? Or is it real? Do we have someone in the Republican Party, if that's the way we're going, that's going to stand up and say, okay, if it can't be done, this is what's got to happen.
They're not going to do stuff in the mainstream.
They're never going to hear it. They're never going to be hearing it. Never.
And to the loser in the chat room, the loser there, one of the trolls, the main trolls there, former candidate in North Carolina, I guess he's got something posted up there that I'm a racist and an anti-government extremist. I guess he's gotten something up there in the chat room there. So I just want to say thank you for paying attention to me.
Joe.
Yes,
Let me just quickly make a comment. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Sarge. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
On behalf of Joseph, to the troll you have there, Joseph is a racist. I'm a racist. My son's a racist. All of us that are godly are racist. You know why? Because number one, we believe there's a Creator, God Almighty, divine. We believe that the Creator, God Almighty, created all of the unique, beautiful different races. We love and appreciate the uniqueness and the value and the beauty in all of the races that God created. And we believe that all people in all races deserve equal rights under laws, and nations should be restored with their respective races because they should have their own governments, because that's the way God made it to be. Now, we all get along as different people. We love one another as different people. We admire our differences, and we appreciate it. That's a true racist. In that regard, I'm absolutely a racist. But the media has taken the term racist, and they have 99.9% of Americans thinking of racism in some bad, negative way because they created that. They created the racism, you know, like it's all about the color of the skin, when race has way more to do than color of the skin,
right? A lot more to do than just color of skin. Race is about nativity, nationality, where a person originally was from. But again, what have they done? They've broken down all the nations. Why? Because they have a New World Order, one world government agenda. So they're going to go destroy other nations. They're going to pay with their money to ship blacks and Indians and Asians into predominantly white countries so that they can water down the white people and then put all the people into one big brown melting pot. So now there are no more blacks, there is no more Asians, there are no more Indians, there are no more whites. We've amalgamated them all, and now we're going to rule over them all, at least all the ones that we don't kill with the jab and with the poison in the sky and the poison water and the poison foods. All the ones we don't kill, we're going to rule over them. And like Cave says, we're going to throw some laws in effect, because we got to get rid of this Christian concept, because the Christian concept is all about morality and traditional family values and goodness and God. We got to get rid of that. So if anybody's talking about that, they're going to have their heads cut off.
Yeah, hang on, guys. Hang on. I got another caller here. 314 wants to jump in here. 314. And also, I want to say hello to the American statesman there in the chat room. Also, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't forget, Joe. There's a comment I'd like to make about that law.
Sarge is after 314. Go ahead, there, 314.
Yeah, how you doing, Joseph?
Hey, how are you?
Don't leave me out, goddammit. I'm a racist too. And I'm happy as hell slavery happened, because if it hadn't, I wouldn't be here. To know the likes of great Americans like I'm listening to tonight. So you're damn right, I'm a racist. But you know what?
I guess. I guess it was just the callers. I guess we're all racist. But anyway, what's on your mind? Is that what's on your mind? I got Sarge here. Hang on. Sarge was next, so I don't want to cut off Sarge. He's been waiting patiently.
Sarge is another good constitution. But I'm going to tell you something. I've been around for a while, and I never have seen nothing like what I'm seeing going on now. You know, it's coming from all different angles, and we got to get off our asses. And, I said that quite. And get ready to fight, because that's what it's going to come down to. We got to get rid of it. Have you noticed how the media? Have you noticed how the media has? Well, I tell you what, when you look at them, they long neck, their eyes sunk in the back of the head, they look like ghosts. But I'm gonna tell you, have you noticed the media haven't announced that this shooter in Nashville is a he? That's what he professed to be. So why come the media is not identifying him with the pronoun that he chose?
That's a good question. If I had time, I'd call the media and ask them why they're not promoting that story as Dex. I got a couple other questions for him, but yeah, that is a good idea. Why aren't they calling? Why aren't they calling
Sarge in there?
Yeah, Sarge, come on, Sarge, come on. Sarge, you know you could jump in anytime. Come on now.
Oh, no, I'm not going to interrupt my brother Bianchi. I want to hear what he got to say. So no, I'm not going to do that. But if you threw it out, Bianchi.
I'm down for now.
Okay, cool. All right, well, look here, man. I want to talk a little bit about this bill that's been introduced in the Israeli parliament. And, I think what we need to do, it is concerning, and I am surprised it didn't get more coverage. But as a matter of fact about the bill, there was a guy who introduced it. He's the head of the parliament's finance committee there. His name is Moshe Gafni, along with another guy who introduced the bill. I can't think of what his name is. I forgot. They're both ultra-Orthodox Jews, ultra-Orthodox. And they put this thing forward, and yes, it does say that anybody who proselytizes in Israel can be punished by a year in a joint, and if you try to do it to a minor, you can get 2 years in a joint. So, but the bill never advanced out of committee on the floor of the parliament. And Netanyahu has publicly announced that even if it was, he's going to veto it. He says it's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to allow it to go anywhere. So the only thing that concerns me is why it didn't get more coverage, because a bill like this even being put on the floor of the parliament, yes, I understand that Israel is a religious state. It's not like the United States. It's got an official state religion. But still, the attempt to forbid any other religion, even if it's not going to go anywhere, ought at least have been mentioned in the mainstream media, because that's what, like the Muslims do in their countries. They don't allow any other faith to be proselytized but Islam for the most part. So, but still, I don't think it's going to go anywhere because, you know, like I said, Netanyahu knows it'd be. You could hardly think of a worse. Even if he supported it, as a canny politician, he knows it's not. It would make Israel look like everything it's been saying it ain't for the last 50 or 60 years.
Longer than that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see we got quite a following there in the chat room there. My fans have come out here tonight. Yep. And I got an ADL page. The ADL has written a story about me. We've already covered that. Yeah, that's old news, buddy. So why are they talking about that, I wonder? Why is that being brought up? That's very interesting. I only talked to a few people about that. So, but anyway, interesting that my buddies here. But chat room's loaded tonight, guys. Chat room's loaded.
Even though I don't think it's going to go anywhere, I think it should have gotten more coverage so people would at least be aware of what some people in high levels of government in the state of Israel are even contemplating.
Yeah.
Sarge, if they say now, with us still not under their thumb 100% or under complete control, they can get our money from our government. Once that happens, them Noahide laws and exactly what's going on over there in Israel will be broadcast because they've already made a pact with the Vatican. You can look that up. I forget what it's called, but they got that, they signed it. The Judaism going in, that will be the one world religion that they believe in, that they're going to force on people. It's going to be used through the Vatican and the Pope because of the faith that he has amongst so many people. That's where it's going to come from. And once you stick Noahide laws through the Vatican bullhorn, and you can't preach Christ anywhere else because, hey, it's coming. It's full circle now. It's just a matter of coming together.
I want to say hello to internet friend in the chat room, Hooligan13, Governor Groover Washington. Let's see. Oh, Ashley, the Satan worshiper, she's in there. A bunch of them, and then of course the few foul names in there. We got about a dozen or so in the chat room. So my lovely fans out there from Tony Talk, I believe they are from, and God's Rainbow Ministries. How about that one? God's Rainbow Ministries. Boy, you already know by the title of that one what that one's about. But oh, Gahoo. Okay, sorry, Gahoo. All right, but anyway. They're all in the chat room. You'll get entertained in there, trust me. But anyway.
But the bottom line is that they're listening.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but they don't learn nothing. That's the problem, Sarge. That's what worries me. They don't learn.
No, actually, Joseph, Sarge just made a great point. Sarge made a great point right there, man. You know, a lot of these people are, hurting souls that have been gotten all screwed up in this world. With all the bullshit that the media and the social influences have pushed on people over the last 30 or 40 years, I really feel, I yearn in my heart for the younger generation, man. They're just, when we talk about people being stupefied or dumbed down or sheeple or zombies and all this, a great many of them are in that, and they know it too, and they're confused. When I was teaching guitar at Sam Ash Music, I had a 15-year-old student that I was teaching bass guitar to. And he came in one day with cigarette burn marks on his arms, and I talked to him. I was kind of a counselor in a way with my students, my younger students, and he told me, I was talking to him about it, and he said he burns himself with cigarettes and he slices himself with knives, and I got talking to him deep about why, and he flat out said that he's confused about life, homosexuality, what's right, what's wrong, transsexualism. Is this wrong? Is this right? Can I do this? Should I do that? The tattoos, the ink, the graffiti, the earrings, the nose rings, the piercings. Everybody's doing it, or at least it looks like it is in the media. And I'm just confused about life. My mom and dad, got separated. What's life about? Why do parents break up? Just a confused soul. And there's just millions of confused souls out there. So the fact that you have people listening, regardless of what their title or name is, they're human beings like the rest of us who unfortunately have their own issues to deal with, like all of us do. Just some people finally get to that point, of realizing, what, I continue down this road, or I say I don't know what it means, but here I am. Take me, God, I'm yours. Let me see where it takes me.
Yeah, well, I'd like you guys to listen to what this killer, Audrey Hale, posted on an internet social website. Now, there's got a picture of herself holding what looks like an AR-15 pistol, and it's got a mask on, a surgical mask, a COVID mask, and a handgun, a holstered handgun, like that Smith & Wesson MP that the police showed they had. And she's also got on a tactical vest, probably with a plate carrier and magazine pouches in the front. And this is what she says in the Twitter: kill Christ cucks, behead Christ cucks, roundhouse kick a Christ cuck into the concrete, slam dunk a Christ cuck baby into the trash can, crucify filthy Christ cucks, defecate in a Christ cuck's food, launch Christ cucks into the sun. And then in the end, hashtag Trans Day of Vengeance. We've got people out here whose minds are as poisoned as it is possible to poison a mind. And when you couple that with their already mental illness and the fact that these activists are whipping up some of these transgenders into a frenzy, we shouldn't be one bit surprised that what happened in Nashville in that church happened. They hate people who are Christians.
Yeah, they do.
Great.
They do. You're so correct.
Son.
Yeah, very well said. You're absolutely correct. Dave, I mean, I know you're out there still on the line, too. Also, I forgot if I didn't say hello to the American Statesman. I'm from BTR on the chat room. I know she's a knowledgeable individual. She does her own BTR show also. So very good show that she does. So if you don't ever go check out her on BTR. I forgot what night she's on. But I know when I'm scanning, when I catch her, I listen in. So, but
can I throw a point in real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
When Sarge was saying everything he was saying, do you know that the description he just gave of that person, there are millions of people like that throughout this country, and you know that a vast majority of them are in their teens and in their early 20s, and they're all working in fast food restaurants and McDonald's and Burger Kings and everything else. So you can bet your ass that there's a lot of grotesque, sick stuff that these warped minds are doing in these fast food restaurants. I mean, I'll be frank and blunt here. I remember 30 years ago hearing stories here in South Florida. I think it was in Palm Beach or Broward County at a Wendy's where a black teenager was arrested for masturbating in the mayonnaise that was going into the jars, for salad dressing. Another one of a person who put their feces in the meat at Taco Bell and mixed it up.
Oh, my Lord.
And looks over at his friend and snickers about it. And that was 30 years ago. And the minds are like everything Sarge just said. That's the mindset now of millions of them. So they're sick and demented, and they're depressed.
It makes you wonder, right? Would you ever eat out? I work as a security guard now. I would not buy fast food.
Yes.
You crazy if you take your kids to those places.
Hey,
you're out of your mind if you go to that place.
Like that? These kids are going to be like that now. When they're old enough to be people that can run for office, you think Joe Biden's bad? What happens when one of these kids gets in office in 20 years and it has its generation? It's not stopped.
I know. What were you saying, Bianchi? Bianchi, you cut Bianchi off
I
here,
was saying that anyone that go to those fast food restaurants in today's times is crazy. You remember the restaurant, I guess it was in Virginia, where the Christian group, an organized Christian group, had scheduled a dinner meeting at a restaurant. When they got there, the owner said you can't come in because some of our workers, our staff, is homosexual, and they don't feel safe around you. So you got to stay away from them. And more importantly, keep your kids away from them. You got to draw the line and tell them to stay the hell away from your kids, or else.
Yeah. Well, a lot of these shows, these drag queen shows that are popping up around, especially down in Florida. I mean, why aren't the communities just an uproar about that? You know, when they come to your community, you guys should need to shut them down. You know, complain. I mean, I just don't. I mean, how else are we going to stand up against this New World Order nonsense? I mean, that they're trying to program the children, drag queen shows. That's what they're doing. Indoctrination. That's indoctrinating the children.
And these parents that let that go on, or they take these kids. Listen, if you're a drag queen if you want to tell a story or whatever, why do you want to go to a strip club and do it? Why can't you go to the library and pick out a decent book? You got to take them to a strip club. These kids are going to a place. Number one, there's alcohol, booze, everything else going on in there, and prostitution. And now there's people on our local radios around here in Akron saying, you're misunderstanding. They're there to tell a good story. They're to confuse people. They know that they're not telling them. What do you mean they don't have a bad agenda? Why are they going to a strip club, letting their parents letting these little kids around throw dollar bills at them, and encouraging this? Those parents need locked up. Period.
Yeah. It's disgusting. It's terrible.
Anybody in this world that thinks that you can do that with a child, I'd like to see you for 5 minutes. There's a song by Pantera. 5 minutes alone.
I'd like to know how the crime is down there. I know I got a buddy that's listening now from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I don't know if he's going to press 1 tonight and talk, but I know he's listening. You know how the crime is. I know he lives in a neighborhood where one side of the tracks, it's clean neighborhood, nice and clean. You go over to the other side of the tracks, boom, nothing but ghetto to trash, and he was pulled over riding. I think he was riding a bicycle, or he was walking home from the hospital. I'm not sure. He got harassed by the police. I don't know if they tased him. I'm not sure. I forgot that story he told me. It was a friend of mine from New Smyrna Beach. I know he's listening. I wish he'd call in and tell that story about what happened to him. But it's just insane. The police down in Florida I heard horror stories about how they treat people. I mean, I just never heard of such a thing. How they pull you over if your high beams are on, or if you flash your lights at somebody, they'll haul you off to jail for no driver's license. I mean, that's what I heard. I mean, how is it down? Mike, you're from Florida, actually. I mean, how is it down there, those New World Order thugs?
Ultimately, Joseph, it's how you handle yourself. That applies to everybody. It applies to you, me, my son. Ultimately, everything comes down to how you handle yourself. You know, there's always going to be vulnerability in this world. You know, and it's how you.
Well, how do you handle yourself, Mike? If you're telling me if you're saying no driver's license, you have no driver's license, you're pulled over. That police officer says, "Look, you don't have a driver's license, sir. You can't drive your car." What do you do? What do you do at that point? You're going to, you know.
2 weeks ago, my son, which, by the way, Rick Martin called me last week. He was in jail for 61 days, and he called me the day after he got out last week. So he's still working with my son on the California issue. And my son knows when he was in California, he didn't know how to handle it right, and he knows he didn't handle it right in California. But he learned some things since then. And 2 weeks ago, he was driving on State Road 27, heading north to go to Central Florida with my dad. My dad was in the passenger seat. A good friend of my son and my dad was in the back seat, and they were going to pick up a trailer in Central Florida. And my son crossed over State Road 41, which is Calle Ocho and 8th Street here in Miami. And as they were going north, the Miccosukee Indians, they have their own police force here as well. And there's a Miccosukee bingo gaming facility right there on 41 and 27. So as soon as my son crossed over, he said there was a police car that got behind him, and he looked in his rearview mirror and he saw the cop car looked like he was going to turn, but then he did a U-turn and came back out into the road, came up behind my son, put on his lights, pulled my son over. My son took a video of it. It's an awesome video. I enjoyed watching the video. My son said when the cop came over, my son deliberately put his phone on reverse camera angle so that you could see that you were on video on the phone, and set it on the dash so the officer could see that he was being recorded. And the officer said to my son, "Yeah, I pulled you over because you have an expired tag on your vehicle." Because all my son said to him was, "Yeah, I didn't renew it because I'm no longer operating in commerce with this vehicle." And the cop looked for a split second puzzled, but said, Yeah, well, yeah, but, again, I pulled you over because the tag's expired. Do you have driver's license registration? And then my son said, I don't answer questions. And then the cop said, hold on. And he got on his radio and said, yeah, give me a 501. Was it a 501 or a 504? Give me a 501, please. And then he started circling the truck like a shark. He went around behind. He was looking at the tag.
Like a shark.
Yeah, he was on the radio. And let me tell you, he came back. It's not that he came back to the passenger side and stood there with my son and said, okay, sir, have a nice day. No, as he was walking around on the radio and he went back around the front of the truck, as he was passing by, he didn't even stop. He just, as he was passing by, he said, thank you, have a nice day, sir, and he kept walking away. Went back.
I'd like to see that video. I'd like to see that video because let me tell you, that didn't happen to me when I was pulled over.
Well,
that's something.
Again, but how did you handle it? What were you saying? And again, that's how it happened this time with my son. But it could be different. You could have another cop that's more of a wise ass. And we don't know what most. It seems that cop called in to his superior, obviously, because he called in on the radio and he was walking around the truck for a couple minutes on the radio. So maybe his superior knew when the cop told him, look, this guy said he's not operating in commerce and he doesn't have a tag. Maybe his superior is aware of it. And he said, just let him go. Maybe we don't know.
Well, I got some private callers here. Maybe they got something they want to add here. First private caller. Go ahead. You're live. Okay. All right. Next one. Okay. Well, obviously you've got a couple trolls there that wanted to call in. Okay, so they're attacking my show here tonight, so interesting.
I love when you're great callers.
Well, they can do better than that, you think, right? I got another one that popped up here. Let's see what they want. Go ahead.
Hello, this is Fred from Tucson, Arizona. I'm from ASM, Arizona State Militia, and calling in to tell you we checked our trail cams about 70 miles north of the border. When we watched the videos, we were shocked that Bridget was having sex with all the illegal aliens.
All right, okay.
And she was fucking him.
All right, there we go. All right, there you go. Idiots. It's unbelievable. Just unreal.
Trail cams up like he's out in the middle of the woods in Arizona.
Yeah. Down at the border. Had to go in there for a second. Unbelievable. Unreal.
They try to sound legit for 10 seconds, right? Hoping that then.
Yeah. Just so they can get their voice on the radio. Unreal. I got one more here. Let me see here. Go ahead there. No, sorry, wrong one, guys. Sorry. All right, they're messing up my phone lines now. There's about 9 of them on there. So, all right. Oh boy, let me tell you, they're coming out of the woodwork tonight. What? Did somebody put the word out or something? I mean, what's going on here?
Target, Joe. We're right over the target. When all the jackasses start complaining and do whatever, you get right over you're going to drop the heat on them, and they know the word. They got to come out and act like fools.
He said, why all these people in
Come on, man. You guys ought to know by now that when it comes to neo-Marxists, man, one of the most important tools in a utility belt is suppressing information and speech. That is a constant, a consistent with everything they do. We just have to expect it. It's what they're going to do. Because they know that their ideas cannot stand up in an honest, flat-out debate. They know it. So they've got to keep people from hearing an alternate point of view. That's why they do it at every level of government. It's why all these activists want to suppress speech. And now these very same activists want to keep this freak's manifesto who did this killing in Nashville from coming out too. They're trying to say, you don't need Second Amendment rights. You don't need First Amendment rights either. You don't need to know what was in that manifesto. We're going to try to keep it from coming out. And I heard that somebody said the FBI confiscated the manifesto apparently to suppress it. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. But everybody, but Mike, you said, we talked about you. As a matter of fact, one night on the show, and somebody asked the question, what happened to the National Militia videos? You were going strong there, and I didn't want to speak for your behalf, but somebody said, basically a lot of people are afraid that, the FBI is going to come in, and I guess some people got threatened or phone called or something. I don't know. But they said that, fear is of going to jail. But I don't think that's it, Mike.
Mike's stuff was on fire, and I said, all of a sudden, these people just fall off the fucking wagon, just like, when we hear about the people from the 2010 and the Republic and all that stuff. I don't hear nothing no more. But yet it's an ongoing thing, and it's like, I think, and I said, like, wasn't going to speak for Mike, but I feel like they're scared to go to jail. And more so now because you got every one of these politicians that are the Zionists that believe 100% that it's okay to do the things that these sadistic Kabbalists, whatever you want to call them, synagogue of Satan bums, send them their money. As soon as you say something, they're going to nail you with this anti-Semitic shit. They're jamming it down Mike's throat down there in Florida. They're trying to pass it to pick up the pace on that stuff. But people are scared to say anything because they're going to go to jail. That's my First Amendment right here. If you're messing with kids, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm going to slap the white right off your teeth. Period.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. Be done. When you can't.
Well, Mike's still on the line. Mike can speak for himself, but I don't think that's not the reason why Mike wanted to shut it down. Or I think what it was, he wasn't getting the following that he was hoping for. Right, Mike? That's what you said, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, given the intense effort that I was putting forth, an intense, major effort for months, where, as a result, we did get, quite a few good, decent American, patriotic, genuine, decent, normal, good-thinking, intelligent people, 40 to 50, over the course of a few months that, were wanting to be, state coordinators and county coordinators and help coordinate their areas. So it was a twofold thing. Number one, considering my effort, I was discouraged. I was like, it was shameful. I couldn't believe that there was that lack of persons being involved, in conjunction with the fact that a great many of them on TikTok and on BitChute, were making comments that, this guy must be FBI, or this is an FBI sting operation. Despite the fact that I was saying everything we're doing is lawful, legal, open, transparent, it couldn't have been a better narrative, a better, safe, legal, lawful, honest, intelligent, open, transparent approach. And yet people were still, one of these guys on here must be FBI, man. Yeah, paranoid and fearful, like we were some FBI. Because all I was trying to do was encourage people to start organizing in their counties and their states in a lawful, peaceful, organized manner to get people of like mind on the issues that we all agree on to start organizing. So given the amount of effort I put, the lack of such people was very discouraging to me. And at the same time, it wasn't just the discouragement. It was the fact that as more people were coming on, because I could have, if I was just looking, if I was doing it for selfish reasons, if I was doing it because I wanted to be the next guy, I wanted to be the next, Mike Adams, I wanted to be the next internet success guy, I would have kept doing it the way I was going because there were more and more and more people coming. But I'm the one that said, hey, look, this isn't the direction that I expect this to go or intend for it to go. This isn't about, that when we have the national militia meetings, it's all about these national militia meetings like this, like you're doing something. Because what are you doing other than sitting in your house and coming on to a Zoom meeting? Big whoopee. It's not about these meetings. It's about you in your neighborhood, in your county, taking initiative to organize like-minded people. So because I made that, in fact, when I made that statement, nobody showed up anymore after that.
Yeah.
It was like, it was mind-blowing, the whole thing. So, yeah, it was. But, the website, righteousarmy.org.
Well, I got to say this. Hey, one thing for sure is I know that the effort that you put forth and the lack of people that were former military or war military that did not come forward to even offer help if they were sincere about it. But
That's right.
The fact that there wasn't enough people, you were ahead of the time. Here's what we're going to look back and say on this when the shit does hit the fan. Should have listened to Mike.
Yeah,
Mike
Bianchi, go ahead. You want to say something, Bianchi? Bianchi was in the red.
You remember when in Dearborn, Michigan, when that huge crowd of Muslim Americans showed up at the school board meeting protesting the books and all that CRT stuff. Now it comes to find out they've been put on the no-fly list.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Comment real quick. I
go
want
ahead,
to
Mike.
squeeze a comment real quick before we get off because of what Tave was saying and what you were saying there about no military. That's a good point Tave made. It was just completely disgraceful to me because I always put the word out that especially and particularly people that served in the military that were Green Beret, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, whatever. But we did have one guy, Chris Honan, in North Carolina, who, you know, was even skeptical himself at the beginning, but he did come to several Zoom meetings. He was 17 years Special Forces, Green Beret, and 9 years police officer. And he started, you know, putting forth an effort to have the Zoom meetings in North Carolina. I know who that is. Yeah, and I hope that he's still, you know, trying on his own to do something. Because like I always said, this wasn't about me. I wanted every single person who got involved to be just as quote unquote famous or successful or known as me. It was about raising leaders. We need many leaders, not me. I'm not like the leader. No, we need multiple leaders in every county throughout every county and every state is what we need. And organizing those of us of like mind. You know, and again, I outlined on the website what the issues are that we're of like mind about. So,
and it's only gotten worse. Only getting worse.
Yeah. All right. Let me see if we got any new ones here. Go ahead, there, private caller. Go ahead. I mean, come on. You can't come. What's the purpose of that? For real. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Go ahead, there. Next one. Next. All right. If you're just going to play echoes, I'm not going to take no more private callers. I mean, nobody wants to hear that. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're trying to do, Joseph. They're trying to get it where you can't even take a legitimate call. They're immature. I mean, they're children. I mean, they're immature and they're children. You know, so you're going to have that. You know, you just
calling for help is what they're calling for. But there was a lady here in Ohio that was doing
Remember,
something.
one of the first things the left always does is try to inhibit speech. Man, it's one of their. They have to do it. They have to prevent free speech.
Yeah, what was that question there about a lady? What was that?
There was a lady here in Ohio that was trying to do something with the common law stuff, and I think you guys, Mike and her, somebody got into it. What was her name?
Catherine Hines.
I sent her probably 15 messages, never heard a damn word back.
Catherine Hines. Yep, you're right. Yep, Catherine Hines. You sent her messages and you never heard from her. Yep, that's typical.
Nothing. So I just like, okay, you know what? There's another one. Check it off the list.
Whatever. I was a little worried about her anyway. I thought just something was a little fishy about her. I really had a bad feeling about her, Mike and Dave. I had a bad feeling. I thought maybe she was, up to no good.
Well, I will say this: when the Lord returns and He appoints me as a commander of the Southeast Regiment, Dave, you're going to be my general, my first general. Because I'll give it to Dave. I'll give it to Dave, man. Of all the people, he was there. Regular and the most on fire, the most studious, the most, able to.
What about me? I was there.
No, I'm saying that Dave, really, did you write militia all over your car like Dave did? Come on.
Wow. I don't know about I'd go that far there.
I did, Joe. You know why? Because I'm surrounded, just like America's surrounded. People don't understand it. The northern border, the southern border, we're surrounded. They're waiting to just storm through here once they get a hold of our guns. But I'm not afraid to tell these sons of bitches here in Akron that they want to act like a bunch of hooligans in the synagogue of Satan, and that's the way you want to go, well, then go that way. But if you come down my road, it's a dead-end street, and you're only going to come down at one time. I don't care. That's it. And I love America. I do the right thing. I've sinned in my life. I've done the wrong thing. I try to do the right thing now. Everything. I've even helped my enemies if I have to. Just for the fact is, I might need help someday, and they might be the only son of a gun that passes by me. But on that note, doing the right thing.
What I like about Dave is he's
somebody and being polite, or not being polite, but just having the mindset that you can't commit crimes, you can't hurt other people, and it's not okay to mess with kids. If you believe anything other than that, I got no place for you, and I'll put you in your place. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, that's a good. Hey, let's go closing thoughts so nobody gets cut off here. I'll go, Sarge, just closing thoughts, what you heard here tonight, what you want to sum up, take a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't need that long. Not today. It's just that, once again, we're being inundated with more things that we can comprehend at once. I guess the biggest problem is to prioritize what we need to deal with first, because the threats to liberty are just beyond belief and innumerable. So, look, I'm willing to get together with anyone of any stripe, because, one of the least things I'm worried about today is racism. I mean, it may be a threat to me at some point in the future. Right now, compared to these other threats, it's almost nil. These other threats are so much more pressing and so much more permanent and so much more all-encompassing that I think everything else pales into insignificance when you compare the threats to our liberty and the foundations of the constitutional republic. I mean, it is never, I don't believe it's ever been worse at any time in this country's history.
Well, yeah, you're right. Well, the ADL did a piece on me, Sarge. They wrote a big article about me, how I'm anti-government, and my anti-government views are based upon that. That makes me a racist, of course. And they went, they trashed me in a big article. Got pictures of me up there and everything. So, because of my run for office. So they wrote it. They said, racist candidates, and I was one of 4 people that they did a big article about. So I was thinking about doing a comment on that and posting a comment, but then somebody told me, why bother? Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, arguing with those people or trying to make them retract something, because they're not going to do it. This is how they're going to attack you and tear you apart. Just be prepared for it. And handle it just the way you've been handling it. That's what I was told. I don't know. What's your opinion, real quick, Sarge? Because you worked on a campaign trail with Alan Keyes, so what do you think when somebody starts attacking you like that?
Jim Oberweis, I worked on it with his campaign too when he ran for governor. So I know what the odds are when particularly they get the press ginned up against you, and they have one voice in the mainstream press, and it's difficult to get your word out without being distorted. But as you well know, Joe, the defenses are always thickest when you get near or over the target. So just take heart.
There you go. All right. Dave, you got some closing thoughts there?
Yeah, I got a few. I just want to say that, like Sarge says, racism is a word that was developed by these very people that have no race. They have no dignity. They have no ethnicity. They have no culture, other than the fact that it's okay to be a pedophile and think, and if the ADL wants to slam you, Joe, and you're a racist or what, this and that, then I'd like for them to retort to say, to my question about, well, do you think it's okay that if you're a 3-year-old girl that you can have sex with that person because their hymen will heal after 3 years old? That's not rape, or molest and sodomize a young boy up to the age of 8 years old, because in the Talmud it says it. These people believe in it 100%, and it's sickening. And now that we know about it, and we're going to start to expose it, they've gone into frenzy where they got to stir up the transgenders, the transvestites, like you like to call them. I just call them fucking weird. And Sergeant, they're mentally unstable. They're sick. These people are sick, and if they can't get help, they're going to do some bad things, and we're going to see it escalate before it gets better. And all I got to say is, if I'm racist, I just want everybody to know I hate everybody equally. So if you get to the front of the line, you get a shot at the Titan.
All right, Bianchi, go ahead. You want to say something here?
I'm starting to get jealous. So you guys get to be called racist, white supremacist, white nationalist, and they just call me little who I am. Sarge, we got to protest, man. They can't be having all the fun. But I tell you what, fellas, keep those people away from your kids. If you go in your classroom, your child, and they got a teacher that's openly gay, take them out. That's your child. It's up to you what your child was exposed to. And you get a chance, check out the Convention of States, local chapters there, wherever you are, and join on. Sign the petition.
Well, Bianchi, were you at the meeting the other night, the Convention of the States? They had a big meeting there at the online meeting. Were you there?
No, I attend the meetings local here. And, you know, Candace Owens was here at the LSU last week. It was a pretty nice turnout. But join the COS, sign the petition because, hey, we got to come. We got to keep doing it.
All right, Mike, go ahead, man. It's your turn.
All right, you ready? Here it comes. I am
Take as long as you want.
I am a racist because I acknowledge there are different races. I believe the Creator, God Almighty, created all of the unique, beautiful, different races. I appreciate the uniqueness and the value and the beauty and the diversity of all the unique, beautiful, different races. And therefore, I believe all the different races should be accepted, acknowledged, respected, honored, protected, and preserved the way God made it to be. I don't want a future where there's no whites. I don't want a future where there's no blacks. I don't want a future where there's no Asians. I don't want a future where there's no Indians. I don't want a future where we have all been forcefully, deliberately, strategically amalgamated together, promoted so through all forms of media and political correctness so that all the races God created have been done away with. I think that people need to start understanding that the concept of racism has turned people into dogs with their tails between their legs. It has humiliated and shamed people because they've used a false concept of the word racism to not only divide people, but make people feel like they have to be like, hey, no, black brother, no, man, I love you, man, because, you know, I'm not a racist, man, I love you, bro. You know, come on, that's bullshit. Of course I love people that are black. I love people that are Asian. I love people that are Indian. They're making people feel like they have to say that to be right and to be accepted and to be in the right perspective of things. That's all intimidation and humiliation, and it's designed. It's strategically designed to intimidate, to divide, and to confuse people. So people need to take that word for what it really is. Think about it, racist. What is racist? What is racist? There's races. There is. What do you know? There's different races. And I believe in the Creator. I believe we're here by creative design. So therefore, God made all that. And therefore, I appreciate all of that. And you know what? That's true diversity. That's diversity. Look at race for what it is. Look at race for what it is. God made it. It's unique. It's beautiful.
But, Mike, when you see a crowd of blacks, like they have been lately in the inner city, jumping on a white student, and they're like savages, you know. Are you a racist because that makes you angry?
No, that's because the same people. Let me answer that. You know, I've discussed this before, right? That's because the same people that are in charge of the media that create all these self-destructive, lifestyles are the ones that created the word nigger. They created niggers. They created niggerism. They created this thing of let's turn blacks into, yo, motherfucker, well, I got my drugs and I got my gold teeth and I'm gyrating with naked white women around me and fuck you motherfucking cops are pigs and these women's is bitches, and they've created that. They've exploited black human beings to create niggerism so that now, if you say nigger, and what white person in their right mind who sees a black person acting like a savage animal is not going to call them a nigger? They all are. That's what they're talking about. They don't hate black people. They don't like the niggerism that has been created by design, by Hollywood, by the music industry. That's been created and fabricated to exploit the black race of human beings and to be able to use, again, in such a fashion as to make people like they all. Well, now I have to accept that. Oh, cool. Yeah, my nigga, I got my bling too. Now you got white people all around with their pants hanging down their ass and gold teeth and tattoos and saying, yo, nigga, what's up, my nigga? And they're white, right? So it's a double designed thing to denigrate people, exploit the black race, denigrate people in general,
You see groups of Asians now. They promote it in Hollywood, in movies, on the music. You'll see a bunch of Asians, right, like dressed like they're niggers, right, with gold teeth and their pants hanging down and guns in one hand and like this thug, like an attitude on their face. And they're going, yo, what's up, my nigga? Yo, nigga, what's going on, my nigga? You know, it's created. It's created by design, again, to exploit blacks and to create this niggerism so that it divides white people. Because now
how do you combat that, though? How do you reverse that paradigm thinking? How do you reverse that? You know, what do you do?
By speaking out against it in the exact same way I am, putting it in its proper perspective, putting its proper context for what it is, exposing their interpretation, their false ideas and interpretations of race and racism and the N word for what it is.
Hey,
accountability for everybody.
Yeah. I guess you're right, man. That was good what you said right there to that, and to combat that type, because a lot of those videos are popping up now on the social media and whatnot. I see them, where you see these swarms or knockout game they're playing and whatnot, and it boils my blood. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, now they're gonna say you're a racist, Joe. I mean, you're wrong.
I'll tell you what you need to do. You need to carry your damn weapon. Black males make up about 4 to 5% of the country's population. I mean, that's true. If they make up 13, half is 6.5. Then you got to look at those that's in the ages of criminality. They're about 4% of the population. They commit 50% of the homicides. 30% of the rapes reported by white women are black males. So maybe we need to get rid of black males. I don't believe that. I heard people say that the red states have the most crimes. Yeah, you're damn right they do, because the red states have these blue cities where all the crime is at that's being committed by black males. You got to tell it like it is.
That's right.
You do. But these liberals will not allow you to tell it like it is. Like that Liberal Dan show I called into. I debated that guy for 1 hour, and as soon as he started losing, what did he do? He put his crony liberal friends on there, and they just trashed me. You don't know how dare you say slavery wasn't the main issue of the Civil War? And they just twisted everything I said very cleverly all around and made me out to this barbarian, that I'm this big, bad white guy.
Slavery wasn't the main issue of the Civil War. It was economics. And as I said before, if it did happen, I'm here today. Thank God it did happen. Who the hell knows what's going to come out of what's going on today?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, man, I tell you. It's
again,
crazy.
Man, we got to tell the truth. Like Bianchi says, 73% of all murders in the United States take place in 5% of the 3,300 counties in the United States, while 52% of the 3,300 or more counties in the United States say there are no murders at all in their counties.
Do you remember,
start telling the truth?
Sarge, do you remember when I was arguing with that guy on my show from the NSM? Do you remember that right there? I should play a little bit of that, actually. I argued with that. I don't know if I got it from the heated part. I'll see if I got it right here real quick. This guy, this is what they did, but this is the reverse side, too, is what they did to me. This guy, he I don't think he was from the NSM. I think he was from 14 First. It's a neo-Nazi group. Let me see if I got this here. Let me see how much I got of this right here.
Blog Talk Radio.
See if I don't know how much I got of it. No, I don't have it. I don't have it. Okay, I'm going to try to get that, and I'm going to play
you, man, we got to inform people that instead of trying to pretend homicide is a nationwide problem, we've got to tell the truth, that omitting suicides, because suicides you ain't going to be able to do much about other than mental health. When it comes to homicide, it is concentrated in 5 damn counties where 73% of these murders take place. We've got to start telling the truth, and we got to start looking at these 5 counties and these 10 Democrat-run cities: Los Angeles, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago. That's where it's going on. Got to start telling the truth. We got to insist people tell the truth when they say, oh, the United States everywhere got a problem with murder. No, they don't. It's concentrated. That's where you need to concentrate your efforts on.
Well, next Tuesday. Go ahead, Pat.
And not only that, blacks flee from them idiots. Blacks themselves flee. And when they flee, they giving up property value. They've given up decent schools. They run. But as soon as they run, your politics, your democratic politics, send the ones that cannot maintain in these areas right behind them. And you know, it's a funny thing. If blacks are so concerned about white police brutality, why is it when they do flee these urban areas, they head to white enclaves where the population is 95% white and the police department is nearly all white? So it can't be that they scared of white police brutality. You got to tell it like it is.
Yeah, you're right. Well, next week I'll try to get that that guy called in. But Sarge, remember when I had the Black Lives Matter woman on here from the president of the Black Lives Matter? Remember I had her on, and you were kind of blown away. You were kind of blown away by what she actually did support. She supported the Constitution. Remember?
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that actually.
Yeah, it was very interesting. I'll try to get those interviews up here for next week. We'll play them next week. Maybe that's the subject we'll address then, because that's a big subject,
but
man.
You know, like I said, we got to start telling the truth because this issue is too important. Like these Democrats, in particular, and these others are using this issue, the distortion of this issue, to railroad through all kind of laws that have no business being passed, because they will have no impact whatsoever on the crime problem, and will significantly reduce the liberties of the rest of us. And we can't let them get away with it because they were the ones who created the damn problem in the first place.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it.